Thank you, sir. Your Holiness, welcome to Aspen.
Comfortable? Yes? Still more comfortable like this.
Well, thank you, sir, for being here. The last time we talked, when you were in Washington, you were in Washington for a neuroscience meeting, a brain science meeting. I was wondering, why does a Buddhist monk spend so much time studying neuroscience, and what does it tell you about spirituality and consciousness?
I think good question. At least good beginning. Buddhist tradition, I think when Buddha start a talk on new tradition or new system, then already in India, other non-Buddhist tradition already there, they also talks much about self. The nature of self. So I think in many traditions, you see the three questions. Number one question, what is self? Number two, that self, whether there's beginning or not. And third, whether that self end or not. These three questions. So many non-Buddhist ancient Indian thought also, you see, try to answer for that. So naturally, Buddhism also, you see, they make an answer for these questions. So then, thinking self. What is self? So the theory, selflessness, or no soul theory and soul theory, two things. Then non-soul theory means soul or mind, the self is just designated on the combination of body and mind. So then further question, what is mind? What is body? What is the substance of body? Then I think further sort of the asking inquiries, what is the world? What is space? What is time? So that leads, I feel, Buddhist science, not talking about next life or these, something different thing, but today is the world, a reality, including our body and mind. So usually I make three parts: Buddhism, Buddhist science, Buddhist philosophy or concept, and Buddhist religion. So Buddhist religion, on the basis of Buddhist concept, but there is next life, there is ultimate sort of salvation. Therefore, it is worthwhile, carry some meditation on these things. So Buddhist religion come from on the basis of the idea of Buddhist concept. Now that Buddhist concept, for example, next life, there is mind. Mind, like any other sort of conditioned phenomena, it must its own substantial causes or its causes. Among the causes, substantial cause and contributory cause. So the question, then further investigation, what is the substantial cause? It's safe.
Yes, we're safe. We're safe with you in here. Yeah,
right. This valley seems very windy, isn't it? So in any way, So that is so the concept of next life is a must basis, should not go just to faith. So the investigation about mind, about continuation of mind. So when we investigate about mind, the grosser level of mind, more subtle, innermost subtle mind. So that Buddhist science, so Buddhist concept based on today's reality. You were listening very seriously. I'm wondering if, as a businessman, you have relevant to these questions or not. So in any way, so therefore, you see, the investigation about the reality. So there, modern science also simply try to find the reality. I think differences up to now, the modern science mainly sort of focusing on things which can measure, which can measurement or quantified. So far, modern science not much pay attention about mind. However, now in the modern science, and particularly the brain, now neuron science, you see, now they realize the emotion of mind and neurons, something very
intimately connected. Very closely connected.
So therefore, the change, or momentary change of these particles in the neuron, also you see connected with emotions. So emotions also is a very close relation with these things, with these of the neurons. So therefore, the interest growing among the modern scientists, particularly the medical science, because they now realize the patient's mind or emotion is very, very important factor for recover. And even, you see, the trust between patients and doctors or nurses are very crucial factor. So then trust, not material thing, but emotion, state of mind. So trust based on, very much connected with compassion, love, like that. So therefore, me, from childhood, the curiosity always is there. So therefore, now this very strong light. And for audience, this strong light is good, but me, very bad. So now only practical thing is like that, isn't it? So as a sort of, that's, I think my curiosity not come from Buddhist teaching, but simply as a young boy, I always see some curiosity, and also observe the nature sort of, because of that. Nature change, like that. So therefore, eventually, some simple book on science, eventually I developed interest. That's too much long, I think. Okay. Then another story. You know, I have one very strong telescope, which belongs to Tibetan Dalai Lama. So I found use this telescope. I think one factor is in Potala, there's not much place to walk, to go, but sit. So then, although no possibility, not much opportunity using leg, but better opportunity using eye, telescope, to surrounding Potala, isn't it? So I took that advantage.
When you were a boy?
Yes, that's right. Winters about 6 months in Potala, 6 months in Nobulinga. While remaining in Nobulinga, plenty of garden, always play in running here and there, no use of telescope. Right. Only during winter in Potala. Right. So in any way, then watching moon. Usually we have some kind of sort of belief. Moon also its own light. That kind of sort of view. I watch there's some rocks, some mountains. You see, after or the early night, the shade of these rocks, of these mountains from the west. So that means light from sun, not its own light. Very clear. So then, you see, I want to teach my teacher, my tutor, a little bit about science. So one day I request to tutor, come see moon. Oh, wonderful! There is very, very beautiful sort of picture on moon. I told them, then they agree. Yes, they also want to see. Then come, then they look, then admitted. Oh, there is no light from its own by itself. And usually, you see, sometimes you see we have this sort of belief. The moon is kind of heaven, very pleasant sort of world. Through binoculars, so you can see just a barren land like that. So then come to India as a refugee. One way very sad. One way many new opportunities. Me personally, and also some Tibetans also. So therefore, then in I think 70s, early 70s, I'm thinking more seriously the dialogue or meeting or discussion with modern scientists. Then one American lady, you see, she sort of married with one Tibetan monk or Tibetan Lama. So one day I just expressed my desire. Then she told me the dialogue or contact with scientists is dangerous because modern science is killer of religion. She mentioned like that. But then I thought more, thought again and again. Then, no. Buddhist tradition, particularly, usually I call one of the best Buddhist institution in India since beginning of the century.
Common era.
That tradition, we can look and we can see the writings of these masters from that monastic institution. Their style, writing, always using logic, reason, not relying on Buddha's own word. And even in some cases, they put question, on Buddha's own word. They take different interpretation, like that. So that shows reason is more important than just faith. So reason means you have to analyze. There's no other way. So therefore, I thought the Nalanda tradition is simply the investigation, analytical analysis. So the modern science, all like that. And then the way Buddhist, if scientists prove certain things which go contradictorily with our own belief, then we have to rely on the fact which proved by experiment. So therefore, I felt no contradiction. So moreover, eventually, from scientist community, medical scientist, and also the physicist, now they showing, particularly quantum physics, they now, you see, showing interest to learn more information from sort of because of the Buddhist Buddhist resources. So we, as a Buddhist, as far as the information or knowledge of reality of external thing, physical external thing, physical reality is concerned, modern science are much, much advanced. Compare that, Buddhist science still limited. Therefore, to us, the learning from scientific sort of findings, immense benefit.
Thank you.
And then to the scientist, the Buddhist information, some useful. So some monk here, because the French, that monk, unfortunately not Tibetan, but French monk. So you see, he actually now acting like because of guinea pig.
Matthieu, stand up.
His father, great scientist, philosopher, scientist, and he himself now eventually take Buddhism as his own personal religion. Then more than that, become monk, very good monk, like that. So that's the reason, some connection. So since I think now more than 20 years, they almost annually meeting with scientists.
Well, thank you.
To continue along that same course, you were describing how Buddhism is like science of mind, or investigation of mind, and Western science has explored material reality. What do you think the most important things Tibet and Buddhism have that can teach the Western modern world, and what are the most important things that the Western world can teach Tibet or Buddhism?
I think Buddhism, as I mentioned earlier, I think learning more information about matters or particles, like that. Then I think for me personally, and also some Tibetan, I think as a result of learning cosmology, right? I think my now concept with whole universe, I think becoming more realistic. Before that, you see, we believe Mount Meru in center, and the sun and the moon go like that. So that is outdated sort of because of the cosmology. So such things. Now, one small story. When spacecraft landed on moon, some picture of rocks. I show some monk. Now, moon like this. And also from there, the view about the world, blue planet.
Image of the world.
Blue,
Yeah, the blue
round.
The blue planet.
Yes, yes. So then, still, this is some senior colleagues, you see, little doubt. Oh, maybe spacecraft landed on some part of the Mount Meru. Now I think that among Tibetan, I think the scholars, I think gradually now changing these things. I think this is useful, I feel. Become more realistic. Now, here I think the benefit, in any way, we have mind. We are a living being, sentient being. So the peace of mind, inner tranquility is very important. No question, isn't it? So therefore, as far as inner peace, calm mind, mission cannot produce that. And business, or millionaire or billionaire, you cannot buy peace of mind. Although you have, you see, because of the plenty of money, you can offer some sort of shop. I want buy peace of mind, so $100,000 or $1 million now ready here. Nobody can sell you. Clear. It's a fact. So we are taking care this physical as much as we can. So why not? We take care about our mental health. In fact, physical health also very much related with mental health. Now, modern scientists, some doctors also is mentioned. You see, too much stress, too much anxiety, very bad. Agitation, very bad for our health. So calm mind, peace of mind is something very good for our health. Then family life also. Sometimes I jokingly say, telling people, may I say or not?
Yes, say it.
Then while I'm saying this, I look to the distance. You know, happy marriage. Happy marriage, I think, much related with inner beauty, just mere external beauty. External beauty is in makeup, makeup, or what we call cosmetic, or millions of money you should spend cosmetic beauty on face. But marriage on the basis of just external beauty. Then after 1 week, or after 1 month, gradually the lack of inner beauty comes clear. Then marriage cannot be a happy marriage, very clear. So ultimately, inner beauty is more important than external beauty. Here is one story. In early 60s, one Tibetan monk official, he disrobed. He found one wife. Disrobed, right? Disrobed.
He left monkhood disrobed.
So then I tease him. Oh, your wife not that attractive. Then his answer, oh, externally not that much attractive, but the inner beauty is very, very good. He told me like that. So then I have no argument.
Very good.
So, I think material richness, right, important. That brings physical comfort. But equally important, mental richness, very, very important in order to keep happy mind, calm mind. That, another, I think, the aspect or the beneficial, right? Benefit is, if your mind remain calm, then some difficulty, some tragedy happen. You can deal with that much better. Your mind not calm, already bad mood, and some small tragedy, small problem, then disturb a lot, isn't it? Like that. So, isn't so logically. So therefore, I think the more, because of the knowledge about our mind, and particularly emotion, then very important to how to deal the emotional level. That's, I think, we can learn from traditional Indian tradition, particularly Buddhism, like that.
Do you think that's true of societies as well as individuals, that a society like America might be materialistically wealthy, but could have a spiritual yearning that you've seen on your travels?
Yes, of course, those American whom I have more acquainted, they already know something about the Tibetan culture or Buddhist sort of culture and these things. But American society as a whole, I don't know. I think we need some research. I think you can carry some research. I think generally, I think human society, the material kind of requirement for just the survival of this body not sufficient. Therefore, the thing which we call religion came in human mind. So that's the clear indication. We need something to provide inner peace. So the concept of God is when you face some problem, and the problem such is beyond our control, then person who have no faith, then really desperate, helplessness. But people who have some faith, then still your hope can keep. Although the things now such a terrible, beyond my control, but still put faith to God or like that. So that's a theistic way. So America, basically, Judeo-Christian background, some extent Muslim. So these religious sort of values, I think, are still working and helpful. But then the meantime, many non-believers also now coming. So here, my effort, my view is, now I think everybody agree we need warm-heartedness, because that brings inner peace, inner strength, self-confidence. Now, the way to promote these inner value, there are three things. Three ways. Theistic way of approach. Very good. God, concept of God. Very good. Concept of Allah. Very good. Then second, non-theistic religion. That is such as Jainism and Buddhism. Not talking about creator, but talking law of causality. Then there must be third. Now that I call secular way, on the basis of our common sense, common experience, particularly our experience when we were young. I think even those who are the most cruel sort of people. One time, when I my first visit to Israel, before going to Israel, some journalists, some reporters came to see me. Then they asked about the Holocaust, these things. Of course, very sad, very, very sad. But meantime, I also mentioned like Hitler or Himmler, very bad, really like murder. However, as a human being, right from the beginning, I don't think these people are like evil from the birth. One time I heard there was one very beautiful sort of story, or I don't know. My American sort of friend. Then Iraq War already started. So his young boy asked him, Saddam Hussein, Quran Chinju
So this young boy asked his father, saying that when Saddam Hussein was a kid, he must have been really loved by his mother.
Yeah.
And he also must show love to mother. Very nice sort of expression by a boy. So I state, every human being, we come from childhood, we come from mother's milk, we come from mother's sort of affection. We survived today because of mother or someone else sort of maximum care. Without that, we cannot survive. We cannot be here today. That's clear. So therefore, even these people also, you see, the seed of compassion must have. So the reporter, I think the report is that in newspaper. So when I reached Israel, some reporters asked me, even Hitler is something sort of essentially something sort of the compassionate person. They very much in Hitler sort of me
So Solons was saying that when he first arrived in Israel, he was really taken to task by some journalist wanting to argue with him, asking how can you say that even people like Hitler has a compassionate nature.
So my belief, everybody have the same potential, great potential. So that's our common experience. On that basis, then obviously we know those children whose family are full of affection, these young children, mentally healthier, physically healthier, their study also much better. Then most important, the rest of their life becoming more sensitive about others' pains, isn't it? Yet, not much interest about religion. Then we must find ways, means to bring conviction to human non-believers, or affection. Warm-heartedness is something very, very important for happy person, happy family, like that.
Well, and can I ask you about a happy society? As you know, we're moving right now towards an election here in the US, and I realize Your Holiness can't speak about US politics, but what values should we look for in our leaders? Because Your Holiness has known so many leaders from the time of Chairman Mao to Prime Minister Nehru to so many others. What should we look for in a leader?
I think compassion, certainly. I think the real mover, every action, for verbal action as well as physical action, and certainly policy also, you see, mover, ultimately, the motivation, their compassion, think others' well-being rather than just self-centered sort of attitude. That's of course important. But then of course leadership must have a sort of vision and honesty. That's I think very, very important. Particularly in a democratic country. In order to get a vote, people's trust is very important. In order to bring trust, you should be honest, isn't it? Otherwise, sometimes people's memory may be a little short. Then okay. Otherwise, they will remember what that person has said at the beginning and what they are doing later, isn't it? So then, no hope. Second vote, so second election, re-election. Right. So remain honest, truthful, transparent, compassionate, long vision. I think these are, important. Of course, easy to say, but doing is not that easy.
Speaking of democracy, you have helped bring democracy to Buddhism as a concept.
Buddhism, correct? Oh, yes.
Along with science. How do you think the next Dalai Lama should be chosen?
Oh, yes. Now, even I think Tibetan Dalai Lama, I think he make attempt, firstly, bring modern education inside Tibet. Then secondly, he start reform. And some kind, although there was some kind of parliament, but not sort of the elected sort of representative. So one time he expanded that. Like that. So in any way, my own case, around 1952, I start reform committee. So we have some sort of thinking, some work for democratization. But of course, inside Tibet, not easy. But then come out. April 1959, we reach Mussoorie. Then North India. Then 60s. I think early 60s. Then we start the work for democratization. So since, therefore, as early as 69, I officially stated the very institution of Dalai Lama should continue or not up to Tibetan people. Up to Tibetan people. If Tibetan people, majority of Tibetan people feel Dalai Lama institution, century-old Tibetan Dalai Lama institution is no longer relevant, then it automatically will cease. No problem. No need any effort. Sometimes the people get the impression that Dalai Lama institution is so important for Tibetan Buddhism. It's wrong. It is not. Then 2001, we already have elected political leadership. Now here, Professor Samdor Rinpoche actually elected political leadership since 2001. So I think his conduct quite sort of quite good. So therefore, after 5 years, re-elected. Now no possibility third term. Only 10 years, two terms, like that. So then, since then, you see, my position is already semi-retired position. So I'm looking forward complete retirement. I think it is really worthwhile. Really worthwhile. So now, so these are, I feel, the practice, right, implementation of democracy. Now, Dalai Lama, as a temporal leader, had now already, essentially, already changed. So every 5 years, as far as we remain as a refugee community, every 5 years, the election will take place. So I have no sort of direct, link like that. So I already have important decisions in his hand and his colleagues, not my hand. But Chinese government always blame on me. So poor Dalai Lama, now like scapegoat, decision making these people, but blame on me like that. So now next Dalai Lama, in case majority of people and also concerned people, so that means, you see, historically, Dalai Lama very much related with whole northern Indian Buddhist community, and also Mongolia, Inner Mongolia, Outer Mongolia, also some republics in Russia. I think last almost 1,000 years, is very close relations. And the very name of Dalai Lama, Dalai is Mongolian word, like that. So very special connection. So therefore, these concerned people, you see, should feel, if they feel Dalai Lama Institute should continue, then the question of the succession. So many years ago, I think now more than 20 years, I made clear, I express some different possibility. I think, I believe, as a leader, I think useful, make some different possibility. Not necessarily to go just tradition. Decision up to them. But I have this sort of, I think, moral responsibility is to make different sort of options. So with that motivation, I sort of was today expressing the one way, like Pope, some election among the top leaders. Possible. Healthier, isn't it? Then another, the seniority, that also possible. Then traditional way, one passed away, then search his or her reincarnation or rebirth among the children. That's traditional way. Then another traditional way is before the person dies, they choose as his or her reincarnation. One of my own tutor, on great Sajja Lama, he chose the third Dalai Lama, consider him as a reincarnation of one Lama not yet died, like that. So that also possible. So like that.
And Your Holiness has said that you think that church and state should be separate in the future of Tibet. Even though a monk can bring honesty and transparency to the world of politics, a monk can bring so much goodness to the world of politics. But despite that, you think they should be separate.
Yes, right from the beginning, when we adopt the charter, I suggested we should be secular principle. So the religious institution and political institution should be separate. That's very important. But individual can be a religious person or monk. But for the moment, Rinpoche also is a monk, like that. So some occasion I mentioned we already have elected political leadership, but in a way, unfortunately, one monk, one lay person, or possibly one woman. Very good. So now one nice word to women. I have one thing to say. I think maybe good, I think, to share. Now human sort of civilization, human history, in I think few 100,000 years ago, then the Marxists say original communism. A community all work together, share together, no leader, no concept of leader, no high ranking. Then eventually number increase, then some problems start. Then you see people found, human being, you see, found the concept of leadership. So then concept of leadership is to come. Then at that time, no education, no sort of civilization, right? Simply account importance of physical health, physical body, physical strength. So like an animal, more the strong body, like you. Richard Blum. Since many years, this is my very close friend, so sometimes I rather, you see, too frank. So whenever you see we met, we shake hand, I always look like that. Very tall, very strong. So from the physical viewpoint, it's worthy leadership, strong body. So male dominance. Male dominance, I think, is come from that way. But then eventually education become important. So education level, not physical strength, that much so important. Not much make differences. Importance is education and brain. So among the leadership, female leaderships now coming. Now today, 21st century, as we already used to talking, and also many the doctors also now you see showing, and also some the social workers also you see agree. Now one factor which modern society having thank you having you see the crimes, or including shootings, violence, these things. So the one clear sort of the fact is a lack of affection in the society, sometimes in the family also. So that's the one cause for more problems. So among the educationists also now more and more people now agree in education system now we need more sort of effort, more emphasis, importance of compassion or affection, like that. So therefore now our time, not only education but importance of warm-heartedness. With that new reality, I think because of biological factor, females, I think by nature, more sensitivity about others' pain, isn't it? I think I think some exception, maybe exception. But I think they generally like that. Even I think animal, those female, even you say there's no other way but except licking like that. The human being, I think scientists also now shake the watch. The female, the meat
His Holiness is referring to a scientific study that demonstrated that difference in the generally between the male and female brain in response to seeing a punishment that was meted out to someone who was defecting in series of cooperative games, and the male brain tends to react with a sense of pleasure, whereas the female brain reflects even a little degree of empathy even when the punishment was given.
That's not from the religious sort of source, but this scientific sort of finding. So the female, more sensitivity about others' pain. So therefore, I have strong view. Now time has come, the female should take more important role in the society in order to promote the warm-heartedness. That's how I feel.
Bravo. Very good, very good. I might, with the permission of Your Holiness, I might ask if there's some questions from the audience. Sure.
Yes, yes.
Any questions? Secretary Albright?
What's he? I want to shake hand.
Whoa, we're going to...
Okay.
Okay. Well, let me ask my question here then. My question to you, Your Holiness, is you have been accused by the Chinese of being part of some international cabal. But I think that I wanted to ask you, how important is it to you and to the Tibetan people for all of us to speak out and to recognize what is going on in Tibet? I think the last time you and I saw each other was in Prague with President Václav Havel, who always said that the dissidents needed to have attention publicly. So I wanted to ask you, does it help? What can we do to be more helpful to you?
Ninja.
Wait, Madeline.
Good. At the beginning, I noticed, oh, that's a full brag or not. Of course, now my eyesight, my way. Also now getting older and older. Yeah, Conservancy. Of course, the clear sort of knowledge, awareness about what is going on, as I think, in any case, it is very, very important. I think basically, I feel in order to carry realistic approach, we have to know the reality. In order to know the reality, thorough investigation, look from all angles, and one dimension cannot see the reality. We need 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions, 6 dimensions is necessary. That's basically. Now, like Tibet case, and some other, I think, similar cases. Basically, our struggle is just a struggle and truthful, and also moral thing. Therefore, I think sometimes force become upper hand. Just moral things remain weak. So we need support from people. Right? That's very important. And also, I think in my case, our case, Tibetan issues case, I feel it's extremely important. Chinese people should know what is going on. Just my one American friend, he had some project inside Tibet. After earthquake, he visited the earthquake area and try some help there. Then he already there, very near one of his project within Tibetan area. So he then tried to go Tibetan area, then stopped. So they already basically the same area he reached. But a few kilometers away, then stop. So although the earthquake, the Chinese government handling, very transparent, wonderful, wonderful. At that time, BBC and CNN, most of the major sort of media, I think very much praised, isn't it? So at that time, I also expressed, now that spirit, transparent, that spirit must now extend to all issues, or all area. But you see, stop is that person. So this is very, very unfortunate. Now, of course, frankly speaking, the world some way get information, what is going on there. This heavy censorship in Chinese media and also the outside sort of media, heavy censorship only make ignorant Chinese people, not world people. It cannot, isn't it? So it is actually immoral. People's government put their own people in ignorance. It's, I think, very, very sad. So very sad. So therefore, I think the more voice from outside, then eventually, I think, get more deeper awareness among Chinese brothers, sisters. That I think very, very important. So in any way, since the 10th March crisis happened, I really felt some kind of helplessness. Same experience which I got in 1959, 10th March. But then, Tibetan people, they trust me, put a lot of hope on me. I cannot do anything, right? Like that. Really, very, very sad, very sad. So the more awareness outside the world, and then also the more information inside China. It's very, very essential. So then, now, I think I want to share with you. If some other people not much interest, then keep your eye, your ear, right? Close your ears. President, you know, we are not seeking separation. And you know, because our own interest, we also want more modernization, material development. For that reason, Tibet remains within the People's Republic of China. It's our own interest, provided our culture, our language, our rich spirituality, and also delicate environment must preserve well. So now, People's Republic of China, but particularly under leadership of Hu Jintao, he emphasizes promotion or building harmonious society. It's very correct. We fully support that. And also stability and unity. Stability and unity is the basis of progress, right? Prosperity. So therefore, now the interest of the People's Republic of China as a whole, the Chinese government, in order to create a genuine harmonious society, trust is key factor. Trust, I think the using force, heavy-handed sort of suppression is destroying trust. So the present Chinese policy, in order to bring stability and unity, heavy-handed suppression is actually destroying trust. So with that kind of method, how to bring loyalty from Tibetan side to Chinese government? Impossible. So sometimes I jokingly telling my Chinese friend, the real act of splitist, they are carrying, we are not. Chinese pushing Tibetan by suppression, like that. So therefore, I think for interest for people from China, and also the people from China, you see, their ambition is become superpower. It's a deserve. Most populated nation and ancient nation, civilization. So therefore, but in order to become superpower, nuclear weapon, a powerful army, a part, but not key factor. Key factor, I think, like United States, democracy, rule of law, individual freedom, open society. These, I think, a key factor. Of course, sometimes American policy, I think you also made some contribution. Certain policy, wrong policy. But America, as the United States of America, I think really a wonderful nation. I love America. So therefore, the people from China, in order to become superpower, need moral authority. For that, they are sort of heavily relying on using force is, I think, the greatest obstacle for bringing respect from the rest of the world, isn't it? I think that's very important. So therefore, like you, the elder statesman of tomorrow, I think like you, elder statesman, I think you can, you see, they educate our Chinese brothers, sisters. Present their policy is actually counterproductive. That's, I think, very, very important. Now, something I want to tell you here. after 10th March, wherever I go, United States, then Europe, Germany, and England, wherever I go, Chinese demonstrators follow me. Then my visit Australia, no longer demonstrations. In Australia. Although there are many Chinese. And in fact, I met a few hundred Chinese there. Very friendly, very good. Now, fortunately, when my visit is here, I expected again is some demonstrations, but no one. So this shows now at least those Chinese who live outside now getting better awareness about the reality. So at the beginning, you see, because of the Chinese government propaganda, you see, the people get the impression Tibetans are anti-Chinese. And we, of course, I'm splittist, they consider, and demon with horn. So, and then wolf with monk's rope.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Whatever they want to describe me, okay, absolutely all right, no problem. As a Buddhist practitioner, you see, good for practice. Let's say because I think they are the.
There is a Tibetan text which includes
8 verses.
8 verses.
Occasionally, I give some lecture on 8 verses. One verse here.
In this text, 8 verses on training the mind. One stanza reads that if others out of jealousy and hostility slander me and accuse me unjustly, may I be able to use that opportunity and take upon myself the loss and offer victory to others.
So I recite that sentences every day. So if I not implement, then hypocrisy. Right. So I have to implement as much as I can. Of course, sometimes a little irritation is come. But you see, then immediately you see, think now this is wrong. I must respect. I must sort of accept. You see, there are accusation like that. So okay. So I think one my sort of the advantage out of this practice is although intelligence level, a lot of worry, a lot of helpless feeling, but my sleep never disturbed. That's unfortunate, isn't it? I believe as a result of, you see, this practice, I feel deep inside still calm mind, I think. So in any way, you see, I think, like elder statement. Oh, what now? I confused. What I'm saying? Oh, so you see, you mentioned, you see, for their own interest, this kind of narrow-minded, short-sighted policy is not good. And leadership must accept the reality, as I mentioned at the beginning. Right. In order to carry realistic approach, you must accept the reality. Whether good or bad, you must accept the reality. Then, accordingly, act. Nobody wants trouble. But because of unrealistic approach, unexpected trouble, you see, happen. These, I think, sometimes unwanted to accept the reality. Sometimes out of ignorance. So, any action must be realistic, fit according to reality. That's very important. One time, Huyanpang, when he came to Tibet, he came to Lhasa, 1980, right? 1980, 80. You see, he apologized. They are past mistake. So that is, you see, one unusual, extraordinary communist leader. Accept the reality, face the reality. So that's, I think, very, very important. Thank you.
On this topic, if I may, this will be your last chance before you go back to comment on the Olympics in Beijing. Do you have any comment on the Olympics in Beijing and how we should treat it?
Olympic, right from the beginning, even not finalized next venue, I express it deserves taking host Olympic by China. Because most populated nation and great nation, so it deserves. So even after recent sort of unfortunate event in Tibet, my support never changed. Still, my stand same.
Thank you. Questions, please, or I think you've wowed everybody. Yes, David, is that you? I can't tell. Yes.
Could Your Holiness, on the topic of trust and nations, speak on wars in the 21st century, particularly because there are so many going on around the world, and people are talking about future wars.
War.
The topic of wars in the 21st century and the number of wars going on.
I feel basically there's a big change early part of 20th century and later part of 20th century. I think even mid-50s, I think many people feel war unavoidable. When Berlin Wall construct, and also they what say the Berlin Drum today.
When human kind of, a transaction between the East and West, East and West,
Berlin Wall, all these things. At that time, even you see talking, Third World War, isn't it? Some occasion I visit, you see, Germany. They then border, then called Eastern Germany. And when I, you see, visit some of these places, then when I sort of, the night, you see, the sleep, sometimes I feel, oh, if something happened, because this is just the other side of the border, so all these rockets, some cases with nuclear warhead, ready to shoot. So that kind of situation. But that, after disappearance of Berlin Wall, not military force, but you see popular peaceful movement, change. So they already 2 blocks with weapons, awful weapons, you see, because of aiming each other. Now that, much reduced. I think basically I feel, then from Chile up to Philippines, the popular movement toppled dictatorships, like that. So therefore, basically, world becoming more stable. Then terrorists, so-called terrorists, you see here and there, sometimes happen, and as a countermeasure, there's some military actions, and also briefly in Europe, and now a bit longer in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's unfortunate, but overall, I feel the desire for peace, idea of non-violence, I think much growing. So therefore, then one wonderful thing, I think because of that, I feel so. There's no harm to express. I have quite a number of Japanese friends. You know.
Yes.
You know, his wife is Japanese.
Oh.
You know.
Will you stand up, Pico's wife?
Oh yes. So you know, I sort of out of curiosity, I asked some of my friends, Japanese, do you have some negative feeling towards America because of nuclear weapon? Actually, 2 nuclear bombs used on Japanese people, isn't it? This is almost, I think, first and I think hopefully last. A lot of casualty out of 2 bombs. Because you see, I myself visited Hiroshima Museum. Very sad. I remember one bunch of
Needles.
One bunch of needle. You see, melted. Such heat. Then this human flesh, how to bear? Really, very, very so terrible. So I asked few of them, I asked any sort of ill feeling towards America. They say no. I think that's very wonderful. Truly forgiveness. Because after war, America helped a lot. And I think not only sort of money or these things, but also is open. I think sometimes is their mind. Sometimes they complain, American culture. But I think basically, in a way, I think open. And experts, right? Expertise like that. And then also, of course, I have nothing to do with the American election. I have nothing to do. But today I saw one American newspaper, the picture, what called her? Obama. Obama. You see, the 200,000 Germans received him. I think these are, I think, the positive indication. Once you see people suffer under American military forces as allied forces, but you see that gone. And then one time, my German tutor, my the physicist tutor, teacher, one David Blum.
David Bohm.
David Bohm, yes. One von Weizsäcker, one German. Von Weizsäcker, yes. Once he told me, when he was young, then every German eye, the French are their enemy. As likewise, you see, the French eyes, Germans are their enemy, isn't it? Well, what do you think? Our French monk. Then he told me, nowadays, that kind of attitude completely changed. So I think one of the clear indication is Franco-German unified force is created, isn't it? I think under the leadership of Adenauer and I think de Gaulle. So these are, I think, wonderful, wonderful. So therefore, they begin compare. I mean, this century compare 20th century. Overall picture, I think, much better.
Bravo.
Now, the start of this century, not a very happy one, but I think, you see, things will improve. But still, we need more effort. The now world heavily interdependent. That's a new reality. So according to that new reality, the concept of war, destruction of your enemy, that's victory of your side. Now that concept is now illusion. No. Destruction of your enemy is destruction of yourself. So for example, now I think not go further. So in any way, mindfulness, my friend.
Bravo.
We can do one more question, okay? We'll tell him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll get
Your
Professor.
Holiness,
Yeah.
you have said that compassion and trust are very key
Yes,
to a successful
yes,
society.
yes.
I wonder, in the context of what you have studied and what you see, whether there are any societies, either in the past or you think potentially in the future, and maybe government society, countries, are there any societies you felt are moving towards that success or are successful?
Societies that are moving to the ideal of compassion.
I think a free country, I think more possibility. And also these scientists now already, you see, carrying these sort of experiment. So there are data already now, Kasoda, coming. A closed society, difficult. So I think hopes, I think any human new invention, out of human creativity, always come from free society. So I think America, I think one potential, and Western Europe's, and eventually, hopefully, Russia. Now Russia, a very important nation, and something like bridge, East and West. So I don't know whether relevant or not. You see, in Europe, I expressed, you see, many occasions, some meeting. I praying and also hopefully one day the headquarters of European Union, which at present in Brussels or Strasbourg, now these should move towards further east, Poland or Czech or somewhere more Central Europe. Then NATO headquarters should move to Moscow.
Well, did you tell John McCain that?
No. In Europe, you see, few occasions I express. There is some, you see,
Some people applaud.
So here I think East-West relation also now very much based on trust.
Yes.
Distrust, more distance, no benefit. Russia needs West. West also, you see, I think at least the Western Europe, I think need Russia's gas or these things. So therefore, better relation with trust is everybody's interest. Distrust, remain distance, and eventually necessary, making preparation some violence, warfare, mutual destruction. So therefore, trust is, I think, in even family, even the couple, husband and wife. Trust, I think, very, very important.
Thank you. I would love to have been there when you explained to John McCain your idea of moving NATO headquarters to Moscow earlier today. Professor Thurman.
Thank you. Your Holiness, you were mentioning about trust.
Oh.
And before you mentioned about the self-defeating policy of Chinese leadership because of fear and distrust of Tibetan people.
Yes.
And propaganda making even Chinese people having fear and distrust. Last night, the very tall Blum expressed irritation because of not having meditated enough, she said, with the fact that no senior leader of China has met with you personally or the Tibetan leadership in exile for 54 years since you first went with Mao Zedong, met with Mao and Deng in Beijing, and he expressed displeasure with that idea, a very tall displeasure. And today, Secretary Albright also asked very kindly what we could do to help. And it occurs to me that in this room is a great deal of talent and knowledge and connections, interrelationships. And if some of the, and Prabhupada Punso Wangye in China also has written that the higher leadership there is misinformed by people in the lower levels of the Chinese government machinery about the true situation.
Yes, yes.
Have unrealistic
Yes.
view.
Yes.
So with all of the genius here at the Aspen Institute and all of the people, would you be happy if they would arrange different types of meetings for people at a higher level, with you, with Samdong Rinpoche, with the Tibetan parliamentarians, not just yourself, but with other leading Tibetan figures, to create a dialogue, let's say a little bit off the record, where a new level of trust could begin, instead of this old-fashioned thing of the people running the suppressed separatism, the iron rice bowl of suppressed separatism. Would this make you happy to have such a series of dialogues?
Thank you. That's a nice offer.
Yes. we always ready. You see, meet some Chinese sort of leadership. Of course, anywhere, anytime, we always sort of ready. But I think one thing, now, after this, you see, recent event, now I think the leadership must know the many Tibetan, there's some kind of resentment. I think they must know. But still, they just blame outsider, and including Western anti-Chinese forces. I think here also this tent, I think some Western anti-Chinese forces may be here. So they usually you see accuse us. We become instrument of Western anti-Chinese forces.
No.
I think just after Second World War or Korean War or during these period, and also I think the Vietnam War, maybe some people may have some kind of strong feeling, but I don't think now. I don't think. But the Chinese, you see, they sometimes maybe deliberately create that kind of sort of image. Sometimes. They know there's no. I think most probably, I think they know about our sort of motivation or our thinking. But in spite knowing that, I think they are deliberately now creating these sort of because of the accusations. So they have their own sort of policy, something fixed. So in such case, just a mere meeting, now I doubt. Now, actually, frankly speaking, now after recent sort of event, that the Chinese government sort of attitude, my trust, frankly speaking, become thinner. Frankly speaking. So in any way, I already semi-retired position. So now I'm looking forward complete retirement. Then I want to devote all my energy and time for promotion of human value and the promotion of religious harmony. And good. The other field, no concrete sort of result. Then waste of time. I really feel like that.
Your Holiness, It's been a great honor and a wonderful pleasure for all of us. We thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like... I would like to call upon the stage the chairman of the Aspen Institute, Bill Mayer.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Your Holiness. I'm here to present you with the Aspen Global Leadership Award. As I listen to your talk, and I go around and I listen for the last day and a half of what everybody is saying, some words that were used and some phrases that I humor, forgiveness, caring, trust, hope, coexist, unification, understated, persistent, wisdom, and of course perhaps most important, I don't know what I'm doing, perhaps most important of all is the inner peace that you have and you show, which I think gives you the external ability to give all of us hope for peace in the future. I want to read part of the citation of the award, which was written about 25 years ago, and I think is about as applicable to His Holiness as anyone who's ever gotten the award. Upon a leader of the world stage who successfully promotes the ideals of peace, intercultural understanding, and widespread human progress.
Since our first meeting, I very much was impressed and very much moved. Your sincere concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you so much, what you do. Really, thank you very much. Thank you, Your Holiness.
His Holiness also cares about Burma.
I know. We can talk about
Yes.
Burma. You
Yes,
know,
I-
plan later, maybe we can talk
Thank you.
about Burma.
Thank you. Thank you.
very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.